I am joined in studio by an ANC veteran, a woman who has held 6 ministerial roles over the last 2 decades. She has been a member of parliament since 1994, and she is the daughter of 2 icons of our democracy. This is Lindiwe Sisulu. Welcome, Ma, and thank you so much for being part of this podcast.
Thank you, and I'm honored to be here talking to you.
A young man.
A young man, because I've always been very passionate about history, making sure that our people understand where we come from. So I'm using this opportunity also to ensure that we can keep our history alive.
And your birthday was actually on the 10th of May I sent you
the
the text.
Yes.
Can you take me through, how does a birthday look like for Lindiwe Sisulu?
Well, when Madiba was made president of the country, it was on the 10th of May.
Yeah.
And I felt like, I could live this over again.
That's
over and
historical.
over again. Yes.
Yes.
So whenever we celebrate our Independence Day, so to speak, Freedom Day, it's invariably on my birthday.
Yes, yeah.
So with
Just a week
time, I kind of felt no man is taking away my own attention from my own space. But at the time when Mandela was inaugurated as president, I felt they couldn't have come to a better moment for me personally.
For you, yes.
And I was on cloud 9 through from the time he arrived through to the time he gave his speech to the ceremonies that came. I just felt like I couldn't have celebrated it
until his first State of the Nation address.
Until the first State.
May,
May for me remains a very important month. My dad is a May born.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's a very important month for us.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And what do you do on your birthday? Just before we go into, what does Lindiwe Sisulu do? I mean... No,
birthdays, I cut them out.
Okay.
When Mandela became president, I couldn't get higher than that.
So, I mean...
I regarded it, this is my birthday present, and it's a last.
And that's it.
Because nothing can be better than that.
Okay.
So, what I do is May is my father's birthday. Yes. On the 18th, it's his birthday.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
8 days after.
Yes.
Wow. So
that's what I put a lot of attention to, because he's Superman for
Iconic.
me. No.
Even for me, like the past few days I've been reading, quotes, and there's this one quote where he says, "The people are our strength."
Yeah.
Wow, it's one line, but so powerful.
Yeah.
That the people are our strength.
That's true.
Do you think that's still the case?
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but you see, you're talking about a generation that did not have a history of the kind of political resistance that we have. So they were, pathfinders. And they instinctively made the right choices for us to be where we are now. Yeah. So I feel very privileged to have lived in this particular decade, in this particular the decade when they took over. I feel very privileged to have been a South African, because it has widened my scope of understanding the world and everything around it. I didn't feel this way when I was younger. I felt very victimized. But I feel very privileged that we're living in this particular place. Yes. I still feel sometimes treated with some kind of I can't find the word, but not victimized. Like, you are so and so's. You think you're special because you're so and so.
Because of the name, the surname. Yeah.
Or you got this job because of whatever.
You're privileged in a way. Yes. But that automatically happens to you if you come from a bloodline that is so, don't want to use the word powerful, but that's known across the country. It's automatically going to happen. And it's not privilege. It's just that these people have paved the way for you. Like, I would make an example with myself. My mom has paved the way for me.
She has.
And some people say, you are so privileged. No, my mother was not privileged, but she paved the way. Yeah. And I can't blame her for that.
No, you're only going to be grateful. Yeah. No, I'm grateful for what turned out to be my parents. I'm grateful I was born into that family. I love each one of them very much. Yeah. I love them for being a part of my life. I love them for what they've sacrificed. I love them for their tenacity. I love them for their value systems. We brought up in a particular way, which was very strict then, but later on has taught me the values that I live with, the values that are important to me. And so I look back and think, well, that which was such a negative background for me has actually shaped me. It has shaped me to be possibly a much better person than I would have been in any other space. But it was a painful, very, very painful childhood.
And as we go into that childhood, can you tell me a little bit about it, how it was before, I think, apartheid really got rife? Because, I mean, the time you were born in, it wasn't yet... Yes, it was there, but I don't think it was as rife as it gotten in the 60s, if I'm not mistaken, into the late 50s. How was it growing up for you?
I don't know if I can work out the general period. I can just focus on what my experiences were, because I lived in a house where my father was banned, even though he was working, where my mother was also part of the harassment. I grew up in a family that was generally targeted because my father was the Secretary General and, of course...
ANC Youth League.
Of the ANC Youth League and also of the ANC. And for some reason, also because the powers that be kind of knew that things did converge around him. So they were very, very vengeful in their treatment of him and us children. We grew up, I mean, I don't want to go into those details, but we grew up with our parents being graded almost every day because maybe they might find the particular evidence that they want and use it against them. So every night we were not sure if somebody was going to come at 3 a.m. and kick us out in the middle of the night and search the house and leave it in a turmoil. So it means that our day was over. We lived at a time when my parents were not always home because they were either in prison, in detention, or in some cases my father would go away, gone to China, go to whatever. So it wasn't the kind of normal childhood. But for me, it created the environment that all of us understood we needed to develop into. We needed to understand that environment for us to be able to respond to it and possibly make sure that we can take it forward. Nobody who's gone through the pain and the torture that we've gone through can sit back and say, wow, you know. So they in a way, it implanted in us a determination that we will get our freedom one day, one way or another.
So I can say that you were born into a political environment. I can say that it wasn't something that you maybe like, okay, one day I want to be like my dad, but you were just born into it.
I was just born into it, and I had determined that I was going to find a suitable way of revenge. I mean, you don't torture a child and hope that they will forget it.
So in them raiding, they would also torture you guys?
Well, okay, let me put it this way. In them raiding, it would not invariably be before 4 a.m, so it will be between 12 or 3. And we were kicked out of bed, whether it's raining, whether it's cold out there, and they surrounded the house so that... I suppose for them, they were doing this to make sure that nothing is hidden. I don't know. But of course, they were very, very Nazi-like in their way. So I grew up very angry. We all grew up very angry. And we all grew up determined that we're not going to allow this to continue.
We're going to fight for the liberation.
We're going to fight for the liberation. And each one of us has in their own way found their way into the liberation movement and played a role that they feel satisfied. This will get us back home. This will get us into a normal society. So we were cooked for a long time in the right pot.
When your dad's arrest happened in 1974, if I'm not mistaken, that's when they were arrested, if I'm not mistaken.
1964. 1960.
Rivonia trial, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken. Around there.
Around there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, there were several trials.
Yeah.
There was a treason trial
Yes.
before. And they would get up at the crack of dawn and get into a bus because they didn't have the money to sustain the trial or their own defense.
What do you make of that? Because, I mean, daughter and father's love is so unique. I see it with my own sister. What do you make of that when you see your father being dragged, waking up in the early hours of the morning? Did that even anger you more?
No. I mean, the instinctive thing for a child is to fight back. I mean, if you do that to any child, do something to their mom, they will use whatever they have to fight back. So we started fighting back almost subconsciously to protect our parents, even before we understood the politics around the country and around our own situation. Just them treating our parents in that way at the crack of dawn. Taking away my father. He was always in some kind of detention prison. It created an environment in me, in my own space, that said, there is no other way. We will have to.
Fight back.
My children are not going to live like this. Nobody's children should live like this.
And that's where it started. And then in 1971, sorry, I got the dates because of the research that I've done on you.
Okay.
In 1971, you decide to go to Swaziland. Now you a university student. Why Swaziland? Was that the only place of safety?
No. Yeah. I did my entire education in Swaziland.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So when the crackdown against the Rivonia trialist happened, the parents kind of decided, look, we'd better get the children out. Number one, because we don't want them to continue experiencing the hardship. We don't want them to experience what will be happening around that period. So to keep them safe, let's take them to a different country. Now, the place they took us to was a missionary school where nuns ran the school. Now, nuns are nuns. All they know is pray and
pray, water, drink water.
Yes. So they were not involved in politics, so we didn't get... It was also a way of protecting us from what was happening. We didn't read newspapers. We were hardly able to read at that particular time. But they took us to boarding school. So right from the beginning of my educational life, I was in Swaziland. I didn't choose that.
Yes.
But it's because it was far enough.
It was safer, I guess.
It was safer. Yeah. And also later on discovered that actually the Swazi royalty was part of the founding of the ANC in 1912.
Oh.
Yes.
So that's new. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yes. And the Swazi royal mother, the Queen, was the one who represented the Swazi nation and the only woman at the founding of the ANC in 1912.
Yeah, because women were only allowed to be members in 1944.
Yes. No, she was there.
She is adamant.
She was there. Yeah. She was queen of her nation. She represented women very well.
Wow.
And she is a favorite historic figure for me. So even the environment in Swaziland, even though they were colonized by the British,
yes.
At that time it was called protectorate, whatever that means.
Makes no sense, but anyway,
yeah. So it was a safe haven. We went to boarding school, and it was a Roman Catholic boarding school. And it was religion and religion and religion.
So you were like filled with religion in your head as a kid, I guess.
No. I rebelled against it because it did not respond to my question. Why is this happening to black people? Why are they doing this to my family? Why are they doing it to my dad? Why are these white people doing what they're doing?
What's the anger?
And religion didn't answer that because it didn't have an answer. I could go on into my own theories about religion. So I didn't have the answers that I was looking for. When you grow up and everybody treats you differently in a negative way, you want to know what have we done to make these people so angry? Every one of them who came into our house, obviously, I'm talking about the regime,
of it.
The treatment of my father in front of us, with us looking on. Just sowed the seed that I'm going to
Things
solve
need
this.
to change.
Things need to change. They're not going to do this anymore, not to anybody. And we would invariably throw ourselves at the police, punch them, like a child would
As
do.
kids.
Yeah,
Sure.
like a child would do.
Would they react with
Well, they would kick us away. But then, so my parents decided that, look, if they come, we had a granny living with us. Granny, could you please just put them in one room so that they don't experience this? They don't experience the rawness of apartheid in their own home. I could go on.
Yeah.
But anyway, I grew up knowing that I'm going to be part of freeing South Africa.
And your time in Swaziland, how was that? Because I know there was an opportunity for you to go to Leeds University, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And it didn't, come right. Why was that?
Well, number one, I would have needed a passport to go abroad.
Okay. So would they have rejected you? I mean,
no,
I don't understand the apartheid system. So
no.
yeah, it's one of those things. That's why
it was the most horrible experience.
So you couldn't even get a passport out of your own country. I'm guessing.
We went to Swaziland, and the way we went to Swaziland was not through the border post, because at some point the border posts were put up there. So we had to use over the fence.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Over the fence way. Yeah. But in time, I think the Swazis kind of relaxed, and we were allowed to get passports to pass, or even, drive through. But the passport I needed to go to Leeds would have needed to come from the South African government, which was not going to give me a passport.
Because of your surname as well. They're
yes. No, we're not going to give her.
No.
So I ended up going to university in Swaziland, which was a big plus for me, because that is the time when Thabo Mbeki and Albert Lomo and Max Sisulu and other people were sent to Swaziland to try and cultivate a frontier space for us to penetrate, for the ANC to penetrate into South Africa.
I guess it was also the easiest.
It was the easiest.
Because it was literally in the country.
It was virtually in the country. Yeah. So in the long run, I didn't regret not having gone to Leeds, because when they came in, the first thing they asked for was, could we see our sister? And of course, the university authorities looked for me and said, look, some people want to see you. And they took me to this hotel.
Can you imagine Max Sisulu with Thabo Mbeki?
No, I was so disappointed.
And why was that?
Because I grew up, we were all almost one family. The political family. Because we lived together. So both of them were my brothers. Yes. I imagined them big and tall. These are men who were training all this time. And I thought... So when I got there and I'm seeing Comrade Thabo, I'm looking at Max and I'm thinking, no, something's gone wrong.
Like, why aren't they? You guys went to training.
How are you going to overthrow?
Will you protect me?
How are you going to throw this bloody stupid racist Afrikaners? So I said, well, I thought you would be wearing your uniform, come marching in your general. Yes, and they just died laughing because they realized I was just so backward. Yeah. But that is how I first made contact with them, and that's how they made contact with the underground activities in South Africa. So I suppose most things happen for a reason. Yes, I was there when they needed a route into South Africa and to connect them with the South African underground. And I was glad that they came. I was glad that I was able to do what I can look back on and say I was in a good space.
And you did a lot in Swaziland. Like, you were a teacher, you were a lecturer. I mean, you were even a newspaper sub-editor.
I was. Now, the strange thing about being a newspaper sub-editor is because sitting right next to me is a man I will not mention by name. And he came into the newspaper pretending that he had run away from being conscripted. We later discovered that actually he was planted there because that's where our activities were. So if you're in the newspaper space, you're able to pose as a newspaper person and go to these areas, go to the farms where we lived in, and
as a journalist,
pretend as a journalist and pretend that perhaps you are looking at farming in Swaziland. So I spent some very interesting times at the Times of Swaziland, because at that time I had just come back, trained. So it was useful for me to have that avenue. And
so that you can just take the experience that you've learned into South Africa.
Into South Africa, and also gather whatever information we were gathering as a newspaper.
And then June 13th comes, 1976, and you are arrested 3 days before the Soweto uprising, which I found very, I was like, were you on your way to the uprising? Because I understand that you were arrested because you had some sort of documents, if I'm not mistaken. You were carrying some ANC documents, and that's why you were arrested.
No, okay. Now, I meet my brothers, Thabo and Max, and they are in the underground in Swaziland. So they mobilize themselves around and the community, South African community in Swaziland. And at that particular time, they also use me as a conduit into the university. That is how Tokyo was recruited and many others who were students then. And they also managed to recruit a librarian at the university. It is that librarian who was carrying some documents. And they had said to him, find Lindy. Lindy will take you to so-and-so so that you can deliver this. And because he didn't have the necessary training, he was just a very hardworking South African librarian. And but because they were watching our house, so as soon as they saw him and he carried a parcel of chocolates
and all of that,
and all of that, and he came in, and I was supposed to then take them to somewhere, but they were watching him. And for that, he got 10 years on Robben Island, and his name is Busiso Ndebele.
I've heard of the name.
Yes.
Busiso Ndebele,
yes.
Yeah, I've heard of the name.
I think as soon as they arrested him, he decided this is where I should have been a long time ago. But otherwise, it was completely on very, it was very circumspect. It was just, a flimsy excuse. Yeah. But in relation to myself, we had been part of a cell under an ANC stalwart called Joe Gabi, and we were preparing for the uprising. Yes. So we were part of it.
So I knew because I put two and two together, and I was like, okay, she's arrested 3 days before the uprising.
Yes.
That means she had certain information to give.
Yeah, they thought I would give it.
To give to the class of 1976, if I were to call them that.
No, we were planning for it.
Yes,
but when it did come, we were bowled over because it was bigger than we had ever imagined. Now, Joe Gabi had been arrested in Robben Island, and he came back, and his job was to revive the underground cells of the ANC, and I was one of those that he revived. I worked with Bele Masetla and a number of other people. And about 2 days before I was arrested, the students at the school next to where we lived went on strike. And I was so happy. I thought, this is what we work. We're
this
working.
Little thing.
This is the real thing.
This little thing is what we want.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it turned out, no, it wasn't. And so when they came to arrest me, I was more angry at the fact that when it does happen, I won't be there.
I won't be here when the big thing happens.
When the big thing happens. But we had mobilized.
But you thought, you know what, the small thing is, let them protest. Maybe this is how it's going to end. You didn't think, Kugut, it's going to be as big as on the 16th of June.
No. I mean, we had been working at it, and the ground was fertile. The kids that came after us were not going to tolerate that kind of education. Afrikaans was introduced as a compulsory language, which was very stupid of the administrator apartheid.
And therefore, education.
Yes. Yeah. So therefore, there was a build-up of anger, and we worked on that.
Yeah.
But the one that I experienced where students went on strike in the school next to me was not quite the pinnacle. And I knew it wasn't.
So was this in Johannesburg, in Soweto?
In Soweto, right next to my home.
Next to your home.
Right next to my home.
Where
where unfortunately on June 16, the first child to be killed was in that school.
Oh.
Yes. But it became much bigger than we had.
And how long did you guys, now that we're speaking about, how long did you guys take to gather this plan, to mobilize, to make sure that, the ground, as you say, was not as fertile as can be?
Well, we had a very good leader in Joe Gabi. He had spent years in prison.
Yes.
So he had refined, and before that, I think he was a trained soldier trained in China. So he had the wherewithal to be able to influence things. So what he did was to gather all the leaders of these youth organization, and myself coming from Swaziland representing that constituency, was part of the people that he brought around him and was trying to make sure that he can build us into real politics.
Yeah, politics.
So history, unfortunately, will be written in a particular way. But from an authoritative space, that man did it.
And unfortunately, you don't see his name anyway.
No, you don't see his name anyway. Because when you're looking for what is the causes were just a confluence of all of these things coming together. I guess, yeah. But for us, leading it into what it became was an influence from him.
Yeah. So I guess he was the influencer, as I would call it. Yes,
he was the influencer.
And you guys who were the leaders just had to take whatever advice or whatever he would tell you guys to do and take it to the ground.
Yes.
Okay.
So he wanted us to bring the leaders of youth movements
together,
so he could
So that's where the South African is it South? I'm trying to remember the student organization that was massively part.
SASM.
Yes.
That's how he met SASM and the leaders of SASM.
The leader of SASM, yes.
And etc. Yes. But I must say, because history depends on interpretation, there have been many interpretations of how this happened. I'm giving you
the actual,
which when writers write say that the ANC is trying to claim victory over something that the ground was fertile.
The ground was fertile. And most of you guys came from the ANC, though. Of
course.
I don't understand when they say the ANC makes it their own. It is your guys'.
It was. I mean, because when it hit the public, everybody was taken by surprise. We were not, because we'd been waiting for it.
Been planning for it.
And planning. My anger at being arrested was not being arrested. This thing is going to happen without me.
Without you. I think that they call it FOMO. When you have a bit of FOMO. I read of some horrific things where they even electrocuted you. I'm sorry to bring that trauma back, but if you can just explain to us what that was like for someone who doesn't understand what it meant when you are in detention, as the apartheid government would say.
Okay. I was in detention, and there were only two women in John Foster. That was myself and a woman called Esther Malike. I found her there. I knew of her family, but she was, we were closed up. We we could talk, but
This is the person you spoke to through the walls.
I've never seen her, and she passed away. I've never known her. I know her in my heart and in our discussions, but I never did see her. So I get to John Foster, and I'm put into a cell, and I'm thinking, okay, so when are you going to release me? When they bang the doors, because I didn't understand the concept of detention. I thought they were going to keep me until they've interrogated me and then I leave. I spent a year hoping that maybe tomorrow.
Without a trial.
Without
anything.
Without anything.
And then at some point you were sent into solitary confinement.
No, from day one. From day one, I was in solitary confinement. From day one, I was in solitary confinement. So I think the question that you were asking is, how did we feel?
How did you feel and what it was
like? When June 16 happened and the doors were double locked, we wondered what was happening. So we looked through the window and we knew there was mayhem
Massive
out there.
of people being arrested.
They hadn't arrested them in town,
Yes.
but the effect, everybody was out in the street. It was chaotic because they were shooting children in Soweto. So even though they didn't know exactly what was happening, everybody was out in the street. So we peered through the bars.
Yes.
And that was the happiest day of my life. It had happened.
But didn't you feel like, oh no, I was supposed to be there?
Well, I thought history will find a way.
Find a way.
Yes, this is what I'd been hoping for.
And maybe that's how history was supposed to be told for you. In terms of she came up with this plan. She was part of, constructing this plan. But let's keep her out of it. And I guess that's how history is.
I don't know. But anyway, history has always been very nasty to me.
Ish. And then you go into... sorry about that. You go into exile. I just wanted to know, where did you go? Because in my head, I'm thinking Lusaka, thinking Angola.
Okay. I did my studies in Swaziland because that is where our parents took us to because of the turmoil of the 1960s and the arrest and all of that. So I kind of graduated into the university in Swaziland. So that's where I was. That's where my activities started and etc. But after a while of activity, that used to be our main base for especially KwaZulu-Natal. We were joined by Comrade Thabo, Albert Lomo, Jacob Zuma. I think those were the people who came from outside. And then there was also a community in Swaziland of South Africans. So we were receiving students on whatever who were coming over and making sure that they go to Maputo.
Yes.
My job, possibly because I was the youngest, my job was to drive people to Mozambique.
Okay.
I must have been about 18.
Wow.
But
that is such a young age.
And it was
young.
It was like, I'm doing something for the struggle. So we were in Swaziland, feeling like, okay, now we can engage in open warfare. I think that the decisions were taken in Lusaka that recruit as many of them you can, so that we can train them, and we have the kind of capacity to fight back in time. So our job was to recruit, pick them up from the border, cross them over to Mozambique, and etc. Until
at 18.
But then, of course, I grew up in that environment. Until the Swazi government said to me, we think that you'd be better off outside of here because you are very targeted and we don't want to be...
So is this after you come out of prison?
That was after I had come out of prison and gone back to university.
Back to the university, yes. Okay.
And I lived in Swaziland because that's where I kind of settled down. But around the 80s, the Swazi government asked me, plean can you leave? Nice leave.
For your safety. I guess it was also for your safety.
It was for my safety, yeah. Then I went for training. And
what kind of training? Because, when we watch movies, we see... on the ground, big guns, AK-47s. Was it that training only? Because I know you specialized specifically in intelligence. So what kind of training was it in exile?
Well, it's basic training.
Yeah.
It's invariably basic training.
Yeah.
This is a rifle. This is how you take it apart, and this is how you put it together. This is called a bullet. And this is what kills. So
put it in.
You put it in here, but for purposes of training, we put it aside or put a rubber bullet.
Yes.
So you do all the elementary understanding.
Yes.
And then we get on to the substantive part, which is understanding topography about South African. We needed to understand the topography of South Africa. That it means this is the lay of the land.
Meaning this is where everything is.
This is where everything is, and this is where the Fortrechte
is.
Yes, should you want to go there?
This is where the monument is, or all of that rubbish. Yeah.
So that by the time we do our planning, we know what are the strategic places
to target.
And our first step into the armed struggle was the strategic installations. It was not people.
Sure.
But because of a particular narrative in the media, all of us were portrayed as killers, blah, 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 which is rubbish. Yeah. Ours was to take back the land, undermine the South African government, undermine the South African army by infiltrating it,
weaken the SOEs,
and weaken everything and make sure that South Africa becomes ungovernable ultimately. And so all of these things you learn. I did my training in Russia.
Yes.
And we spent more than a year or so, from theory to practical.
Is that why our relations with Russia are so bilateral relations? Is that why they're so close with Russia? Because they helped us a lot.
They did well
in the struggle.
They helped us a lot in the struggle, but they were not the only country that helped us. Yes. There was the GDR, which is the German Democratic Republic. But our ideology was very linked to their ideology. Okay. So they took us in and they trained us. We were also taken in by African states and kept in Tanzania. Tanzania played a very important role. They built a school for us and etc. So it's a whole lot of progressive movements and progressive governments that came out to say, how can we help you?
How can we help you?
Yes, but my team ended up in Russia.
In Russia, yeah.
And we learned everything from disassembling a gun to the worst possible.
Planting,
everything.
Yeah. And how was that for you? For me, I could be a bit scared at first because a gun can kill somebody.
I wanted to handle a gun. So when we spent about 3 months understanding the theory of war and whatever. I was so bored. I wanted to handle a gun. Because
of the anger, I guess.
Because of the anger.
What these people have done.
And we stayed there for more than a year. It was the most memorable year of my
Did you guys
adulthood.
get to at least enjoy your young adulthood? I mean, 18, 19, 20, like your 20s
No, but you see, it is at that time that you feel, I see from my son, he wants to drive me. He wants to feel like he is valued.
Yes.
He wants to do all of these things.
That's how sons are.
Yes. With everybody who grows up, they want to feel, I want to feel valued.
And attention.
Yes, and also valued.
Yeah.
So here we were training to go back and liberate our country. Nothing could have been more intoxicating than that. It was grueling training, but the fact that we were now trained soldiers going home and we're going to march down the street and we're going to mow down every
going to literally
enemy.
Putting your life at risk as well. Did that ever cross your mind that I might be in war and die?
No.
What? No. Why? You were just...
I was going to liberate my country. Wow. So why should I die?
So you didn't fear that, looking at the videos, the torture that the apartheid government did, the resources they also had. They carried the state, so they
carried the state.
A lot of resources.
But when your mindset is at a particular level, you don't think about what if it doesn't happen.
What if it doesn't? Yeah.
You think about, this is how I'm trained to deal with this, and this is how I'm going to do it. And you know what? We're going to liberate our country.
Sure.
So the negative side of
maybe
never
came across your mind.
No. No, it didn't. We were just these superheroes being
Yeah,
trained.
you are like the Avengers, like
Yeah, Avengers.
liberating the country.
We're going to liberate the country.
Yeah.
But now, in retrospect, you can look back and realize that, okay, that wasn't going to be the way we liberated our country ultimately. But at the time of our training and our determination, we were on cloud nine.
I guess that because of the training and the environment.
Yeah.
That's why you never saw with I'm risking my life, actually.
No. And you were talking about the Russians. They were excessively hospitable. They treated us like, when we arrived, they treated us like,
Royalty.
Respected guests. But out in the camp, it was
a different story.
No, it was a different story.
Because it seems like their military training is... So it was that intense. Because I've
they
seen
took us...
a few videos.
We stayed with them in a flat for a while they inducted us into... Slowly, and learning the basics of language. And then they took us to training camp.
Sure.
And we trained with their soldiers. So there was no difference between us and theirs. It was like...
It was all the same.
It was from the small ammunition to big guns and all of those things. We had to bring down the helicopters of the Boers. So we had to,
So you needed
we needed to have the whole range of training.
Sure.
But of course, they underpinned it with politics to make sure that we understand the reason why we're fighting. We've got to underpin it with real, transformation of our society. What are we fighting for? It's not just anger.
Yes.
It's anger. Beyond that, we've got to build a particular type of society.
And then, were you ever, by the way, sorry, before I go on to my next question, were you ever deployed to a specific assignment in the country during those times?
No.
Okay.
My final job when I graduated was as an intelligence officer. Was gathering intelligence, synthesizing it, and passing it on for use to those people who are going to use it. So I didn't, I suppose, now that you ask the question, I don't know whether it was a protection because we were women. No, they didn't have that. I don't think they remembered the difference between men
and women because it sounded like you were all the same thing.
We were all the same thing, and they treated us all the same.
But I guess because you had a specific specialization and they saw that in you.
Well, either yes or there was a recommendation that, I guess in my group, I would probably have been the only one with a degree.
Okay.
So that would have already meant you go in a particular way. This is one who was going to analyze and whatever. But we were all there, and we formed a formidable friendship because we were going to liberate the country.
Anybody that was not, I don't want to say famous, but anybody who was part of your camp that we know today?
Oh, they're all very famous. I don't know if I want to.
I can take a guess and say, I can see Nosiviwe Mapisa Ngakula played a very integral part in the ANC Women's League as well back in the 90s. When I look at old footage,
yes,
was she there?
No, she wasn't part. I think Nosiviwe came out in the 1980s.
Okay.
We were the 76
you
group.
You were 76,
yeah,
okay.
By that
she
time,
was a bit later on.
No, by that time, if we were at boarding school, we would be saying Misila.
Misila meaning?
Misila means a newcomer.
Oh, newcomer Sila. It's from Sila, yes.
No, she came much later.
Yes.
Via Lesotho, I think.
Okay,
by the time we trained and come back.
Yes.
By that time we were also able to produce our own trainers.
Okay.
So the trips, the wholesale trips to other countries was slowing down because we now had our own camps.
More people now.
And more people.
Yeah.
So as we came back, we were also assigned to go and lecture there or teach there or whatever. And it lessened the financial burden on the countries that helped us because we were able to do it ourselves. So I think around the 80s, like the Nosiviwe one, We were training in Africa by that time.
Okay. So anybody that people would recognize, or
I'm not going to blow nobody. I'm not going.
Just one.
No.
Okay.
And when they listen to this, they'll probably be saying, "She'd better not mention me."
Okay, no, it's okay.
But no,
Yeah.
I think one of them finally became the chief of the defense force in the medicals.
Okay.
After our training, he went for medical training, and he was the chief of the medical services.
Yeah.
And the others were deployed by the ANC in very strategic positions all over.
Yes.
Yeah, but we
It's okay. Now we move on to the unbanning of the ANC in the 1990. Where were you when de Klerk took to Parliament and said, we are releasing Nelson Mandela? Where were you at that time, and how did you feel?
Where was I?
It was 1990.
Oh, okay. After the Swazis
Yes.
asked me to vacate my place,
Yes.
I then went to school. I'd already done my training and everything, so I went to school, which was York University.
Yes, York University.
York University.
Yes.
So I'm sitting there one day, and I get a call that de Klerk, or whoever it was, had released all political prisoners. I thought, what? Yes. And then Thabo Mbeki calls me and said, we're going to connect you to your dad. So connected me to my dad. And speaking to him over the phone, I thought, no, this is a gimmick. This is not my dad.
This is not my dad.
Not my dad.
And when last did you hear his voice before that?
Well, after my detention, I went to tell him that I'm leaving the country.
Yeah.
And amazingly, he didn't say, oh, no, but, you're a girl.
You go, all of that, yeah.
He said, I'm very proud of you, my child.
Wow.
Go do it.
Yeah.
Go do it for all of us.
And your mom?
My mom was so proud.
Oh, wow.
My mom was so proud.
Yes.
Because, we grew up in an environment where we needed to give expression to, we won't tolerate this.
Yeah.
And there isn't a single one of us except perhaps the youngest, who wasn't at some point detained.
So you all were detained?
Yes.
Even Dr. Max was detained as well?
His was the worst because he wasn't yet even 18. Oh. Now there is a law that you can't detain.
Yeah, you can't. It's supposed to be juvenile.
17. But all of us, except the youngest one, have been detained, and so it was just part of life.
And when you hear your dad's voice, when you're saying it's a gimmick, when did it take you to realize, oh my, this is actually my dad?
Yes, and because of the line, his voice sounded so thin. I thought, this is not happening. It's not him. I put the phone down. I called Comrade Thabo. He was in Lusaka. Yes. I'm told that these guys are out. Yes, they've been out now for 2 days. I said, I've just spoken to my dad, and his voice is not the same. He says, is that what you called me for? I'm very busy.
Busy. Yeah.
Because at that time was probably the busiest time for the ANC.
Yes, it
now
was.
To be asking about the voice and all, the man is home. So I was in the middle of, I just finished my MPhil and I was now doing my PhD. So I go to my supervisor and I say, I'm coming back in 2 months' time. He says, you know what? I can see through you.
That you are not coming
You're not coming back.
Yeah.
So I came straight back and then I met my parents in Lusaka. I went to stay with Comrade Thabo and his wife. I met them there because they were on their first visit to Africa, and they paid their respects to Kaunda.
Yes.
And he put them up in a state house. And I saw my father for the first time as an adult.
Full
yes.
Adult.
Yes.
And how was that for you?
Well, it was in the middle of a whole lot of other things that he was busy with that really got to me because I thought, I'm going to spend the whole day with him.
Dad.
But I didn't get that opportunity.
Because he was national chair, if I'm not mistaken.
He was national chair, and there were issues that the ANC had to deal with. Do we continue with the armed struggle? Do we abandon the armed struggle? All of these questions were really taxing questions. And I felt he wasn't giving me the time I wanted. I just wanted to sit on his lap,
and
brush his hair. No,
there's a photo I actually posted today, knowing that you're coming, immediately when I saw it on my Twitter, of you and him, and I just it's such a beautiful photo. My goodness. And I'm so sorry to it makes me understand what you say right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he was he was a leader of the delegation, because Madiba was the almost de facto president. And he was busy and he didn't have time for me. I thought, what?
You've been gone for so long.
So long, and you don't have time
for me. Come see me. Sure. And how did your mother feel? I can imagine her in that moment, like, it's finally over.
No, she kind of felt, oh my God, here we go again.
It's a roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster.
Yeah, I'm not going to see my husband again, and all of that. Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no.
But we did have our moments, my mom and I. And I think she kind of said, you might need some therapy to get over your anger.
I was about to ask that question. How do you feel? It's over, but you still have...
Well, I didn't take her advice, because for me, therapy was for mentally unhappy.
I've said that before, and they thought I'm crazy. And I said, but it's for people who are crazy.
Yeah. And she said, no, you need to unburden yourself on somebody. And I thought, Mom, I'm a soldier, I channeled my anger into overwork, so got into government. And so most things that I do wholeheartedly, because it takes me away from any other space. So when I do something, I really do it. I really do it.
You really do it.
I really do it. Yeah. Any other space would have flipped me over. I would not have allowed a time in my life where I'd just be not giving expression to my anger.
And is this why you're so for pro-black people? Like, you're so for black people? Can I say that anger kind of still lingers a bit or is it all completely gone?
No, but the pro-black one comes a little before. I joined the Black Consciousness movement. And because I was just bowled over by Steve Biko. And then I discovered we come from the same family. He's a Tamela. So I thought, wow, the gods,
this is me.
The gods have decreed it.
Yes.
So I was in Black Consciousness before I met Thabo and Max in exile. And they said, stop being silly. So I said, but we've got to make sure that we get rid of these people. And they said, but how can you get rid of these people? I said, but we can. You just drive them into the sea. I mean,
bomb them.
I was a very angry Black Consciousness person. When we came back, I worked at the University of Fort Hare as I was tutoring master students under a program called Govern Begi. And we came out with a book. It didn't quite hit the bookshelves as we had expected it to be, because it happened just before we went into Parliament and all of those things. But basically what Govern Begi was saying is, we should not have forgiven them to this extent. We should not. Because if you do, then we're not going to get our value
at all
back. We put together a booklet. I think it's been taken off the shelves now, because at that time was a time of a great deal of negotiations, activities like that, and so there wasn't as much focus on producing that book as there should have been. But if he had lived longer and we had stayed with him to write that book, it expresses exactly how most people feel, that we undersold ourselves, and that apartheid was not going to go away, and we should not have negotiated ourselves into this particular situation. But I'll perhaps some time go back to that book and get his notes.
Because I think it's something that, for me, is needed so that we can understand where this actually stems from. Because it's become so systematic, Sisulu, that we don't even sometimes, I realized that my teachers in grade 1 were actually very racist only now in my adulthood. But when they were doing it, favoring white kids over, which it's a reality.
And we live with it.
And me and my sister were like, we were cool with it. But in our older age, when we become more conscious, we're like, they were actually racist.
They were very racist
towards us.
And a large percentage of whites still remain very racist. And we missed that opportunity to put our foot down and say, no, we're not negotiating beyond this.